There's a gremlin in the Kremlin. Whatever shall we do? He's done all these horrible things, and we know they're all true. He takes what he wants, and no one says a word. When nations throw sanctions, he treats them as an unwanted turd. The West decries his deeds, but then makes nice to kiss his ass, because, in reality, they're in desperate need of his natural gas. He flaunts and changes his country laws just to keep a seat, and makes it nearly impossible for other candidates to beat. He promised a lot to make his country great again and brought up people's hopes, but it was all a major cash grab, and his mates would have brought a lope, buying the fancy toys all naughty boys coveted in lust, while the cities, factories, and neighborhoods just decayed into rust. Then a bug whispered in his ear to reclaim land that was once theirs, saying no one would dare stand up against the mighty Russian bear. So into Crimea he went, gobbling up the peninsula in one giant bite, feeling that no country would dare take on his military might. He did this before in Syria, Georgia, Armenia, and more, bombarding and blasting the land until it was raw and sore. And while the world cried foul at this devious deed, in the end they said nothing to meet their basic needs. He bullied many leaders into bowing and scraping at his feet, since they knew if they didn't, he'd crush them like wheat. But soon, many began to wise up to him and decided to take a stand, because they saw him as nothing more than a scared little man. He then took issue with NATO surrounding his land, and would make threats with just the wave of his hand. A comedian soon became president of Ukraine, and it rattled our Gremlin, and he soon began plotting something sinister in the bowels of the Kremlin. He silenced, killed, and exiled those who opposed his plan, and soon it became apparent to all but him he was a sad and lonely man. In the beginning, the sycophants and brown-nosers all praised his ingenuity, but over time they saw through this facade just plain incongruity. They told him it would be easy. They said it could be done. They would capture Kiev and say they have won. But when they rolled in, it was all just a big mess, and soon their army was put under much stress and duress. The soldiers were met with jeers and revulsion, the like that would give a dictator such horrible convulsions. He made the same mistake as all autocrats in history's past, thinking he could win a war and take over a country really fast, never accounting for the will of the people to stand and fight, from the oldest man to the youngest land in jeans very tight. Soon, they became bogged down in such pitiful shit, and every minute and second of the day they were hit by weapons given to Ukraine by the West, and how it put that sorry lot to the test. He also didn't count on his mates screwing him so bad, giving him poor advice and crippling his army to make him mad. Even now he muses and wonders on how to win, never realizing what he's done is in fact a global sin. He thinks he can win this war by sheer will and his army grand, but to many it's obvious he doesn't have a leg on which to stand. He hoped to stop the growth of NATO and put this war to bed, but pushed his two northern neighbors into the alliance instead. He wanted to gain the respect of nations through this bold act, but now he is reduced to scraping for supplies from rogue states and hacks. He has killed the flower of the youth in a senseless war against the West, sending more to other lands, the brightest and the best. Those who have truly made his country modern and great, now they're nothing more than a country, third or fourth rate. There's a gremlin in the Kremlin, but now we can see what he's done. And he's made a massive mess that is shit, tons and tons. He thinks the world will bow and scrape because he has what they need, but is it possible, by his own hand, he's planted the opposition seed?